And on the other side, Darnay for Bazooka Puppies was their Pharah specialist. Then you're looking towards Widow players like Kenzie to try and shut them down. It means there's going to be a whole lot of change that's going on between these teams. And let's not forget, 3-3 meta has been the seemingly go-to, the GOAT's compass, everyone's calling it these days. So don't be surprised if the teams really mix things up for the first few rounds and then kind of settle into a groove as the series goes on.
Well, CIS Hope and Copenhagen Flames going to be clashing. First up, University on rotation for Oasis, so that's going to be the first round to decide how the rest of this map is going to go, as well as the series. Wow. So straight out the gates, Copenhagen Flames going for Naga on that Pharah. As you alluded to, Darnay's also there with the McCree.
I alluded to Darnay on the Pharah. This is a total switch around here because Naga has been their hit scan specialist. If you remember, he was the guy picking up McCree for a good part of last season, whereas now he's switching over and playing the Pharah, whereas Darnay, who used to play Pharah for them, is now on the McCree.
Well, good thing he's already on the McCree as he takes out Kenzie, forcing out an early resurrection from Eng. He's going to bring him back on. Of course, Eng's on that Mercy. On board with Ding, he's been a bit of a Terminator in previous seasons with that Zenyatta. Looking for more of the same coming into Season 2. Shark holding the line against Chubbs. He's going incredibly low. Will get picked off by Midnight on the back end of that as the rest of CIS Hope is forced to retreat and cave to the pressure of Copenhagen Flames.
It was the story of yesterday, Tridd. It's going to be very much so the same today. It's these new players coming into Contenders or moving over from regions not previously in Europe. Of course, regions can't be inside regions, but more from teams outside of Europe. Those are the ones you've got to keep your eye on because they will bring surprises to teams who have gotten used to Season 1 and what we saw back then. Midnight came across some XL2 and was doing work earlier, but now it's all about CIS Hope getting on the scoreboard. And some tasty pickups from them. Chow and Unfixed doing the work. Darnay's now been removed, so it's Midnight to try and level the playing field. You can see Kenzie trying desperately to get those shots in. Started with the Pharah, gone for the Mercy, but he's been pulled into a Graviton Surge. The barrage completely shut down by the tank of Sharek, and now they're going to aggress onto the point. Dragon Strike is available for Unfixed, but he's going to keep hold of it till the next fight, because surely CIS Hope should win without it. They're only going to have to claim this one back eventually. The last few members just trickling away from Flames will give the point over to CIS. Most impressive of all, Tridd, is they won all of that without using a single ultimate. They've got combos for days here to stack up and be able to stagger Copenhagen Flames back, so don't expect them to give this point up anytime soon, as Copenhagen Flames themselves have only got the 1 or 2 ultimates online. Recon arrow just expiring, so they're not going to have as much information as they would have had a couple of seconds ago if Copenhagen Flames would have regressed. There's the high noon. Kenzie taking Naga out of the sky. But CIS Hope, they've still got plenty more to play with. Copenhagen Flames, they don't want to tussle with it for now, and they're going to wait for their other DPS player to come back up. And that's 1 ult down, so now they've got the Earth Shatter to play with, and of course that Grav Dragon combo is the other one on side. So again, it'll be a while until you see Flames come in with something special. That is, unless of course they can charge their own Immortals in time to contest that. Immortal isn't too far away from the Valkyrie, so they might go for a very aggressive play on the back of that one using the Earth Shatter, and what Darnay's got online as well, ready to pop. Depends where he gets to make use of it, though. He's going to divert the attention with this flank. The high noon comes out, but so does the Singularity. Here comes the Grav Dragon combination. Darnay trying to level the playing field, but Unfixed got 3. Darnay's only 1. Make that a 4th as well. He's rubbing salt in the wounds, and Darnay knows what he needs to do. He needs to accept defeat and try again. Yeah, for Darnay there burning it out, I thought using the delay in that situation when you knew you were getting comboed and your team was about to get wiped, I understand the intent, but when you're in the controlling situation, it's so easy to respond to that kind of threat as long as you have an idea as where he's going to be. Where's McCree going to be on this map? Always going to be on the high grounds. Well, Ding creating some robo-side as he takes out main. Naga lingering around the rooftop. Darnay again with the kills. Copenhagen Flames going on the offensive. Now they have that edge. Need to land those aerial shots, trying to divert the resurrection. That's so unfortunate for Naga not being able to nail that, because now Sharek's back into the fight. He can block out the shots. He goes straight in with the charge. Nearly gets the kill. The flame strike with a double onto Midnight and Chubbs. Here comes the Graviton Surge holding him up. The Kenzie, he makes sure that ends sooner than it should do. CIS Hope, 90% and ticking. Maybe, if they're lucky, 1 more push for the Flames. Bit of a panic combo coming out of them there, I think. Maybe not the best one for them, but Naga's going to switch over to Sombra here just so we can try and get back to this point in time. CIS Hope are the ones in the driving seat. Shatter comes out, straight into the Transcendence. Another Dragon coming out from Unfixed, and the High Noon is there for Kenzie. No one to be found, but it's keeping them off the point. They're still contesting. They're dipping their toes in the paddling pool, but there's a Shark in there. His name is Unfixed, and he's biting them straight off. Well, we were always speaking about what combos we'd see coming out of this CIS Hope team, and with Kenzie being the Widow specialist, you'd imagine that it would be Unfixed going across to the Hanzo, and so far, showing up well on it. We spoke a lot yesterday. We saw a lot of fantastic Hanzo players. Unfixed, as flexible as he is, still rocking the Hanzo and showing us how to play it well. So they're leading Oasis 1-0. Going to jump onto the next map. It is going to be Gardens. Going to have fun with that. I'm sure they will. Maybe some more Pharah. Naga, would he commit to it?
because he seems to be the dedicated far player for Copenhagen Flames now that him and Danye have had some words.
We've seen some teams in Trials picking up Doomfist here thanks to the verticality of the point itself. It's very, very easy to get in and around and hide once you're on cooldown. So maybe we see that get picked up at some stage, but it feels like tanks will be the go-to solution for the most part. Let's not forget CIS Hope, another one of those tank-heavy teams from last season alongside the likes of Angry Titans. They're rocking that 3-3 tank with Kenzie picking up the Brigitte.
Well, the GOAT composition, that's as close as you can get to quad tank. We know CIS favors these tank-heavy compositions, so it makes no change here. The meta may change, but their heart and identity does not. Going to clash on the point immediately, being matched by the triple tank, the 3-3 composition from Copenhagen Flames as well. The Reinhardt hammers are swinging. Eng's going to be the person to draw first blood with a sound wave to Ding's face. Gonna have a little bit of a back off. CIS Hope, they have the man advantage. They'll gain the territory for it. Sharek making his name known, taking out Chubbs. And the rest of CIS Hope are gonna concede the fact that they just have that point now.
Sharek managed to get the Earthshatter online, and of course when you win a fight like that, you'd fully expect it. These duels early on in the game being backed up by those stuns from the Brigitte. That's what really counts, when you can get those shatters through alongside the combo with the stun from the Brigitte. Keep an eye out for that one, because if a team messes it up and gets a shadow into a shield, the other team is going to counter-engage hard, and Chubbs is only 10% away from his own Earthshatter.
Sharek's sitting on the shatter. He's going to use it now when the shield is down. It's huge for Sharek, but what can CIS Hope do with it? They're trying to spray down damage. The Coalescence are being traded, keeping everyone healthy, as Unfixed is the only person to get a frag so far, but Sharek's pushing forward with that hammer. The Flame Strike goes through that shield. Chubbs, you're going to need to do a little bit more. And now he's in the face, pushing Copenhagen Flames even further back. They've still got time to play with, so they should give up now, regroup, and go for a quick attempt.
Flames are doing the standard go-to tank strat here, where you have ults, you just keep on stacking them online, and then you go for the big pushback and try and take the point off that one. And they've got to be aware of is that CIS Hope here are rolling on their own couple of ultimates on side 2. No Hanzo, of course, for them, but rolling with the Diva Bomb and the Unfixed ultimate online, ready to bring to the fore. They've got to be careful they don't get caught out by that, because we have seen some fantastic Brigitte stuns just in time for the self-destruct to go off.
One Graviton Surge thrown out. Naga's got his own, but he's going to save it while everyone's pulled in. Now comes the counter-attack. Chow with the double self-destruct. They're trying to do the exact same thing again, but Danye only gets it at half the price. Unfixed. Now with the armor, with the shield, with the overshield. He's trying to cut through everybody else. Throwing out the right click. He's going to jump off the edge. Immortal's picking up kills. He's going to cut through the remaining members of Copenhagen Flames. Instead, he's going to come back, regroup, 90% in ticking basically for CIS Hope. They're going to have to push this down, force this one out.
Big Shatter comes out once again. They're trying to step their way through, trying to pick up the members they can towards the backside here, but once again, their efforts are being refuted. Flames find themselves on the offensive here, and CIS Hope are finally going to lose the fight out.
They needed to do that there. You can see the timer on the screen. There's 96%, so close to having that loss on not only this second round, but also the map. Now they're going to start accruing their own percentage. So on CIS Hope to be the aggressors for the first time in this map and try and attack this defended point from Copenhagen Flames. Coalescence coming out. Here comes the Shatter as well, shuts it all down. Oh. It's an easy sweep for CIS Hope. They knew exactly what to do. The Graviton Surge from Naga, trying to pull them together and maybe change the way this battle is going. But the result is already set in stone. They're going to flip this point over. Can Copenhagen Flames stall out long enough to assemble some kind of counterattack?
They're in the case now where no one's here, I'm afraid. Even a Graviton Surge just in case. And yeah, there were a couple of sneaky members in the back. Ding was there to contest, but looks like they will be able to touch it. Chubbs is still here, but with the feeding it in, this game is pretty much done, Tridd.
Well, there we go. CIS Hope, they're going to take the first map. They're just stalling the victory for as long as possible. The charge on the mech keeps it off the point, and Sharek puts the shield up at the end. Nice little bit of micro there to finish off what was already a sweet victory.
CIS Hope, pretty dominant. Expected this coming in. The team that have played together for a lot longer than this Flames roster have. Don't forget, they're still getting themselves together. Lots of new members, lots of things to change and gel with. But some early promising signs, I've got to say. A lot better than what we saw last season, I think. And they are contesting CIS Hope. But as it stands, CIS Hope just a little bit too together right now. This is why they were one of the top 4 teams of last season.
They also had an incredible record on control maps last season, so it was the strongest archetype of map for CIS Hope to take up. Copenhagen Flames, let's see how they fare on the different archetypes that are going to be coming up, especially with the new map pool as well.
Well, let's not forget as well, yesterday it all started out well for British Hurricane, and then suddenly it ended up as a 3-1, so it could happen here. I'll have to find out after the break, though.
Of course, and Des is absolutely right. We're going to go to that break. When we come back, we'll bring you map number 2, and let's see if Hybrid can shake things up for Copenhagen Flames. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're in the series between CIS Hope and Copenhagen Flames. And unfortunately, CIS Hope already have the lead, so Flames gonna need to start burning a little bit brighter.
Unfortunate for Copenhagen Flames, maybe, but very fortunate for those guys who, as they alluded to on the desk, they've been sweating away throughout the off-season, making sure they are more than ready for this Contenders season. Looking good from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, they're running those tank compositions, which we kind of knew
Shock
they
horror.
would do. Yeah, you can't, like I said, you can't take the identity away from this team, so they're going to find a way to make that work. Copenhagen Flames, some nice changes. We see Naga playing different heroes than what we expected him to do.
Surprised me a lot.
There you go, you're loving that, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
Your
I
boy
love it.
Naga.
You can play anything. There we go. It's all about this matters about those flexibility, and you'll see a lot of teams. We'll speak about them later on in the third game of the day between we have Org and 1 Point. Those guys are the epitome of flexibility. I feel like almost here in Contenders. Of course, that's a game for later on today. Right now, the flexibility being shown needs to be shown by both sides if they're going to be able to take this one away. Moving into Kings Row on the hybrid. Wonder what's going to come out on here, Tridd, because we may see sniper duels coming out, but let's not forget once you get into the streets phase, yesterday, it was Grav Dragon everywhere.
You could be going for the, well, double sniper, or alternatively, you could be doing what we saw some teams do yesterday with the triple tank, triple support, and taking that very long, winding path to try and get control of the high ground to mixed results, shall we say.
Or you can see the Angry Titan special, which they brought out on Gibraltar, which was to run double shield and just charge their way through the map, uncontested, and end the map with 6 minutes in the time bank. Now, no team's done it on Kings Row yet. There's a lot more opportunities, I think, to combo a team off the point. Gibraltar, obviously a lot more open than Kings Row, but it can happen. We've seen crazier things in Season 1.
It's also a completely different archetype as well, so I don't know that would necessarily work when you're trying to capture a point to then move on. I've got to say, Des, it's so good to be seeing our home map, technically, because it is the British map that we get to see in European Contenders. But I do want to see Eichenwald at some point. Can we please get an Eichenwald up in here? Maybe in the next series or the series after. Just want to have some more variety. Like you said, versatility is the meta this season.
Yeah, back in the old days of UK lands, it was Kings Row without a doubt every single time. Eichenwald is a bit more European, so really we should be seeing that on here, but it will come in future. We've got time for that one still. However, let's see what Flames are rocking out. They're rocking out the standard double sniper with the 2 ground tanks, as we like to call them, in Ryan and Zarya. You can sometimes see some mix on this comp where you get Diva and Winston in place of those tanks instead. That tends to be reserved for the more vertical maps, and whilst you can kind of consider Kings Row more vertical, all the action happens on the payload itself. It's a very tight map. Those Grav Dragon combos are everything, and actually on the other side, we're seeing exactly the same thing being rocked.
Identical compositions, who gets the advantage from the offense and defense, and who plays it better? Already, CIS Hope, they've breached through the gate. Sniper duel in effect. It's Danye going up against Kenzie this time around. Gets the headshot, not enough to finish him off this time, and now they're pushing around Mondata and onto the point. They're in the face of Chubb. Both getting the Zarya bubbles at the exact same time, and they're trying to cut through. It's a mirror matchup in every sense of the word, Des.
It is, but Naga's the one who opens up first blood onto Kenzie. Not really the matchup you're looking for. It's more of a Widow v Widow thing usually, but with that advantage, they will manage to detract and push them back, at least momentarily, until the res comes through.
Still getting very low, but Copenhagen Flames, they pushed back the first offensive from CIS Hope. Now want to build some kind of entrenchment to negate the second.
I was looking at the ult, starting to see what's coming online here as well. Nothing real big yet. Danye's only got that Impresight online, hitting considerably more shots than Kenzie at this stage to be that close to his ult, but both of the Valkyries aren't too far away either. Maybe you just see the big aggressive play come out of CIS Hope here, or maybe at some stage they switch over to rolling the Lucio and just try and go for the standard goats, rush on point and take it over.
To me, the difference was a couple of seconds ago, the difference in ult charge between the Zaryas. Impresight is in play for only Copenhagen Flames. So they've got the wall hack, CIS have not. And immediately, Danye's going to capitalize on it, but he misses the scope. He goes for a scope up again. There's a Mercy in his face. He's being pocketed. He's going to have to back off. Calls in reinforcements, gets the ding, not fully charged, and will be healed up by the pocket Mercy. While this has been going on, the conflict on the main point has escalated. Naga with the Dragons takes out main, and already from the side, Unfixed with the Storm Arrow, getting multiple dinks, but not on the same target, so he's not getting enough to kill. Has a Dragon Strike of his own, but there's a Graviton Surge and a Transcendence keeping everyone together. Flame Strike coming out. And now here comes the swing of the hammer from Sharek. Protective bubbles to negate some of the damage. Danye from the side gets a nice dink onto main, and Unfixed is going to give some little bit more revenge for the side of CIS Hope. The Dragons shot out afterwards as an afterthought. Now they're on the point, nice and secured. Beautiful turn by Sharek to negate most of that shatter. And now they're going to try and clean up. The resurrection comes in. Unfixed providing cover fire while that goes on with their feet securely on the point. Then now the earnest is on Copenhagen Flames to try and push back. That's a very aggressive move from Immortal, only to find himself going straight to the grave.
I think he knew he was done for there, so even a couple of seconds to buy some more time, it was just a bit easier than trying to run away and get yourself picked off on the way out. Now they've managed to complete it, but it was a good hold by Copenhagen Flames, a good 2.5 minutes. Ran down there, means that they have less time to push through streets and, of course, into that third and final important stage. No real big combos online so far, unfixed. Interestingly, going over to the D.Va, that's the kind of thing that we see Chow on usually.
Well, Chow's taking over the Zarya responsibilities this time. They're going for the GOAT composition as they transition into streets. No real changes in Copenhagen Flames. They're quite comfortable in what they're on for the time being. They might have to adapt, though. They start to feel the pressure from CIS Hope.
See how they can make this one work for them. Coordination, you'd hope it's a bit better for CIS Hope this season. We spoke about the coach and the work he's doing. The shatter into the bubble, maybe that's a bit of miscommunication there.
Well, it was a good move because you saw Reinhardt was pushed off to the side, so you don't have that shield coming up in the way. You didn't account for the mini shield coming onto Zarya. Valkyrie going to send them to the skies. The chain healing in effect. CIS Hope still uncontested until the Tranquility or the Transcendence comes out to try and push them back off. They know there's no point in fighting them. You can't fight against that regen from Zenyatta.
That was more of a stall tactic than anything because there was no one really around to capitalize or push forward on that, but this is one way to push forward. Instantly, the Trans comes out. Here's the Dragons behind.
But they're sitting inside of the Transcendence. No one falls to the Dragons, but Kenzie gets a donk on the noggin to Danye. And Chow's going to finish off Naga, so the train keeps on rolling to CIS Hope. Nice block again from Sharik. The Shatter finds barely anyone as Ding will take his life for his brave and valiant actions.
Ever since they've taken that first point, CIS have looked a lot more decisive in these fights, and for those who remember, when we saw Giganti face off against British Hurricane in the regular split last season, the only difference between those teams was the decisiveness in the team fights. That's what seems to be the bread and butter of winning teams. The CIS Hope are definitely showing it here on King's Row.
Recon arrow on the payload itself, trying to figure out if any CIS Hope members are going to stick around it. Now expired, so that information no longer relevant. The sound barrier is going to be the go button for CIS Hope. You can already see Sharik picking up a double. Chow, he's on the back line with that Graviton Surge. He's going to spray Danye out of the sky. That payload is nearly on the home stretch. And he's got a Graviton Surge to seal the deal. Already trying to find Ding, who's hanging around that spawn room at 100 charge. If he can find someone, he's going to lock them down. There comes the Graviton Surge, where here is the offensive from CIS Hope. The Transcendence comes out at the right time to keep everyone alive, and the Dragons will lead the counter-attack for Copenhagen Flames. Midnight finding one kill, finds a second. The barrage comes out, but it's not good enough. Naga will be taken out by unfixed. Copenhagen Flames, irregardless of that fact, will continue on this defense.
It's funny how situational Pharah ultimates are here, that the barrage has to come out at exactly the right time. You can't use it that high up. It's got to be the sort of thing you either drop over a doorway. We saw the car wash yesterday, as we called it a couple of times. You use it in the open like that, where it's going to take a couple of seconds for your rockets to even hit the target. By the time they land, someone shot you and you're dead, as we saw just then when Naga managed to when Unfixed picked off Naga. So, question marks towards the end once again. Flames still showing some of those rough edges, I suppose you could say, that we saw a little bit last season, even with this new squad. CIS Hope, though, as said, looking very together as a team. Yeah, and you'd expect it from a team that plays just purely out of friendship at this point. They're not backed by an org. They're a group of guys who came together and said, hey, we're pretty good at Overwatch. Let's put a team together and see how far we get. And you got to remember, last season, they got to top 4 in the playoffs without an org backing them. That's pretty impressive. They did, and unfortunately met British Hurricane, who, of course, were the overall winners when it came around to the semi-finals. So, not the easiest path in. Could have been finals, not quite there. But maybe this time round things change, because British Hurricane, again, from what we saw yesterday, losing 3-1 to Young and Beautiful, very early to call, of course, but showed some things where they've got to work on, I think. And that's what's going to be interesting, especially as we get towards the end of today. We'll have a very rough idea of what each team is looking like. Yeah, and Copenhagen Flames CIS Hope is a good way to start off, because they were both middle-of-the-pack teams last season as well. Copenhagen Flames having more changes this time around as opposed to CIS Hope, who really only brought in a coach for more of the communication and micro strategy, shall we say, rather than the big game plan, which seems to come from the players themselves. And they've hit both of these games very hard, very fast. They know what they're doing, and they've got the conviction to pull it off. So it's all credit to the players of CIS Hope. Copenhagen Flames putting up a very good fight against them at times, but I think we're wrapping back to the consistency issue we saw from this roster last year. Absolutely, and to be honest with you, it's one of those things where it's always a race against the clock. And let's not forget, there's only 5 games these teams play during the regular season, but that is spread out over a full 5 weeks. It's not like it's all over and done within 5 days. It does take a while to get to the very end of it. So there's lots of time for movement, lots of times for prep, rehearsal, changing things around as needs be. And I think with a lot of teams, we saw it from Giganti last season, didn't always have the hottest start, but once they got onto a winning streak, they won their last 3 games 4-0. So maybe it's the same with Flames too, where they just need another week or two to really kind of adapt and get ready. And when it comes to that stage, they might start really surprising a lot of people. And that's not the only team we'll be saying that about today.
Yeah, I can't overstate the fact that this is only week 1, so a lot can change. We saw journeys and arcs of teams who started off not with the best starts, but somehow managed to conquer the competition at the end. And we don't know how good CIS Hope is comparatively to the rest of Group B's. We might find out in week 5 that this was actually the hardest matchup Copenhagen Flames could have had, because we might see a CIS Hope on top of Group B. We still don't know how it's going to go. We're going to jump back into the game, see how Kings Row concludes, and maybe start to remove some of the haze from this picture we're trying to see of Group B.
Many anime redemption arcs to come for teams, I'm sure, in this split. We spoke about it a lot. It was kind of our little catchphrase of last season. No, that's going to be a thing again. Now, looking at Midnight here, he's got his ultimate online. On the other side, you're seeing Shark with the Earth Shatter and the Self-Destruct. Not really got the big combo they want, but there comes the grab even.
Grabs on Surge going to put them together. The Self-Destruct is there to remove Immortal. Danye with the Storm Arrow onto Unfixed. Shark still going strong. Naga switching over to that Junkrat. Going to get on the ground, try and get dirty with some of these tanks. But Chow and Shark, they've straight away removed him from this map. Shark swings the hammer, negates any movement onto there, and CIS Hope finish Kings Row.
That was the strangest ending to a match I think I've ever seen, because it didn't really feel like there were any particular high moments where either team lost or took the lead. It just kind of happened.
It was the death of 1,000 cuts. It was the death of 1,000 cuts for Copenhagen Flames.
That's exactly how it felt. But now that means CIS Hope completed 2 minutes in the time bank. Now it's Flames' turn to rock it out and see what they can bring to the fore.
One side of this map tells a story, the other might tell something completely different. Yes, we got 2 minutes in the timeout for CIS Hope. Copenhagen Flames, they might finish it with 3. Let's see what CIS Hope are going to do to try and shut that down. And I see Kenzie hovering that Torbjorn. That's usually the Eng special on Numbani. No more Numbani for him, but hopefully we don't actually see that locked in and put into play.
It's the exact reason why he's locked it in there, Tridd. It's to test you, to see if you'd mention it once again, because Eng probably said to him, come on, mate, every single time I locked in that Tor, or even hovered it, Tridd was speaking about me last season, you want to get in the highlight, mate? Just lock in that Torbjorn. Just roll it out the gate and see what he says.
I close my eyes at night sometimes, Des, and I see that
Everyone
Torbjorn.
closes their eyes at night, mate. It's called going to sleep.
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, mate. Except people, the difference between me and them is that they don't have nightmares of a Torbjorn running around on Numbani.
As someone just painted like an animation inside your eyeballs or something of Torbjorn just running around on Numbani, and that just plays and repeat every single night.
The rapid eye movement makes it work. Unfortunately.
It's like one of those flick books.
Yeah, basically, hopefully my eyelids don't flick like that. I really hope not. Let's have a look at what CIS Hope are actually going to run onto their defensive move. No changes there. Double sniper composition. They're going to keep it nice and simple. Let's see what Copenhagen Flames are going to run into the offensive. And maybe we'll find out if that defensive advantage wasn't actually an advantage. It was just pure skill.
This is very much so the standard comp I think we'll see out of CIS Hope all season. Of course, we haven't really seen them during the off-season. They were one of the top 8 teams who stayed in Contenders, didn't have to battle their way through trials.
They finished 3rd in pit, though, and that was on the same patch.
True, true. Lots of sniper play, of course. Kenzie, we know what a Widow player is. When we came around to the top 4 at LAN, we turned around and said, well, actually, he is the strongest Widow player remaining. And this time around, it's Danye getting the domes.
Well, Danye's trying to maybe erase that from the record, correct it in his name. Already gets that first headshot. No resurrection available for Eng for the next 30 seconds. Again, onto Kenzie. He's really trying to make a name for himself here. Still with more shots.
3
Naga
picks, done.
getting up there. Now no more resurrection for them. They've got all the picks they need. Copenhagen Flames should be taking this map. From the side though, Chow with the Zarya. Nice charge on the ultimate, but not quite there yet. Still going to throw out some Hail Mary shots, and Copenhagen Flames are aggressing over the point, trying to push CIS Hope out. Naga again with the dink. Danye follows up. These snipers aren't just fighting CIS Hope, they're fighting each other to see who can get the most kills.
That's why double sniper is so prominent, because back on the old patches when you had like, you see it like Overwatch League for as a prime example, when you have the Widowmaker, that one pick is normally enough to lead to a fight. But with having both the Hanzo and the Widowmaker, you get 2 or 3 picks at the very start of a fight. That becomes a 3v6, and it's pretty much lights out for the other side. That's exactly what we saw Danye just do to CIS Hope, and even saw Naga chipping in with the kill onto main.
Kenzie knew exactly where Danye was going to come from. Already got down to 2 HP. Just one more of the assault rifle bullets from Widowmaker. Going to finish him off. And that frees up Kenzie to do a little bit more. He finds Ding, using the space he freed up for himself. And the rest of CIS Hope have already killed the momentum that Copenhagen Flames built for themselves.
into that first Streets phase. We've seen teams get full held almost here at this point, at least for a good few minutes. We saw it yesterday, in fact, and a couple of mistakes was the only thing that really let a team get through. That's a very early Transcendence out of main.
Early Transcendence for CIS.
There we go.
But prime opportunity for Naga with the Dragon Strike. They're going to trade them both ways, but unfortunately, Copenhagen Flames are ones with the Transcendence. Unfixed still finds 2 kills in the chaos. He's going to be forced out by a very aggressive Chubbs. Main punishes him for that aggression, and now you've just got Naga left to the side. Main's a little bit more bloodthirsty than we expect to see from a Zenyatta.
It's kind of weird that one side, Copenhagen Flames, had the Transcendence there, and CIS Holt with main burnt theirs a little bit too early because they knew what was coming, but the fight still goes in favor of CIS Holt, which is bizarre when you think about the fact there's a Transcendence on one side and not on the other. Maybe it was the damage boost coming through from the Mercy which did the work for them. Who knows?
Now they're going to force themselves further down the street. CIS Hope are going to hold this angle. They don't want to go around the corner. They know the payload is coming to them. Storm Arrow just for the good bit of damage. You see Kenzie going off to the sides. Was trying to get a flank behind him. Maybe pick off the supports on the back line as they push up. He's going for the head of Naga. Unable to find it at this time. That mine is going to let him know exactly where Darnier is, though. So he knows where to look. But Darnier, he understands that, so he's going to hold the angle and provide some oversight for his team.
Trying to flank behind here as well. Maybe try and get another pick off onto Kenzie, and if he can, then that's a great angle to have from behind, but that's not a fight that he's winning at the moment, Tridd.
Both for the Valkyries have taken to the skies. Kenzie's going to remove Darnier nice and easy without the support. Still at this side angle, no one's paying him attention yet, but they really need to sharpen up to where Kenzie's going to come from. He's allowed to get 3 headshots. They're going to kill all momentum in the push. Unfixed. He's got the Dragon Strike available. Darnier finally getting his own back onto Kenzie. The resurrection comes out from Eng. Going to bring him back into the fray. Early Transcendence comes out. They're going to force out a trade into the Dragon Strike. No one's going to go down. Here comes the Graviton Surge. So an odd combination of timing for the ultimates, but not for CIS Hope. They pick up the triple and capitalize on the lack of Transcendence.
It's what I mean again about out-of-sync ultimates really here. Naga once again using his without the combo, whilst Midnight had his ultimate online. Little things like that, and we've seen this from a few teams yesterday where they were just completely staggering ultimates separately and therefore never really managed to find the opportunity to close it out. In fact, it was in the Angry Titans game in which we saw the exact same thing happening with August and Hungary, just not synchronizing together, and they lost a map and a half because of it. I feel like the same thing happens to Flames here today. It's a huge travesty because we know these guys have got it in them to make these big combos work. As it stands right now, they're not really living up to that.
Graviton Surge from Copenhagen Flames pulls them all together. Only a Storm Arrow to deal out the damage. Counter Shatter from Sharik. Just going to shut down Copenhagen Flames again. Kenzie wins that war of the winners against Darnier, and he takes the prize of the Head of Immortal.
I literally finished talking about it, and the same thing happens again. Midnight using his ultimate when Naga is just hitting 75%. It feels like I'm hammering on the same point here, but they need that combo to be able to push through, and now they've got 2 minutes to go. It becomes a very time-sensitive issue. It becomes a race, and if Midnight's going to get his ultimate back online before this ends to go for that Hail Mary combo, they've got to do it quick.
Sharik's had the superior shatters all series so far. Chubbs has really got to step up with his next one. He's got it in the pocket, and they've nearly got Naga's Dragon Strike. They're not really close to any other ultimates. Darnier's going to shape it up with the switch over to Tracer, and the Valkyrie's going to sustain them as they push themselves forward. Here comes that Dragon from Naga, isolating Sharik. Here's your time to make it known. Sharik's just going to charge straight through it. Midnight's going to find him. Chow does the exact same thing on the other side. Chubbs is going to get removed. Here comes the Graviton Surge. There's the damage to follow up on it. Unfix is there with the Dragon Strike, and now you've got an isolated Chubbs charging away to save 3 with his tail between his legs.
It's kudos to CIS Hope. They're really managing their ults incredibly well and making sure they've always got the response coming out of Flames and making sure that if an ult does come through, they immediately have an answer to get into the back line and bring down the key members of Flames to completely shut it down. In that case, it was for Chow. Let's catch everyone. We don't even need the back line. We need everyone in one spot. We murder them. Fight is over. Midnight and 60%, they've got a minute to go. He might just about get there, and Naga's still got to power his ult back up again.
But Main's sitting on his Transcendence. The CIS Hope have shown when they have the ult combination right, they're using it more effectively. I don't know if Copenhagen Flames are going to be able to get away with it this time, as Chow is even closer to his Graviton Surge. It's only Unfixed that's lagging behind with that Dragon. Going to build it up very quickly, though, because we know what that new Hanzo is like.
Chow's got his online and ready to go. They made a choose to pull the trigger a bit earlier on and go for a play with someone else. They've got the Shadow available to them if they want it, but Midnight's going to get the opening kill onto Eng.
Preempted Transcendence, perfect timing though, because the Graviton Surge called them together. The charge, taking someone far away from the healing. Unfix is doing everything he needs to do. He takes out Midnight, he takes out Chubbs. CIS Hope have run over Copenhagen Flames. They've stopped their offense. Kings Row will surely be their map.
They haven't got time to be able to touch this one, no, and a real shame because Midnight, they had that combo online, but alas, messing around in those last, well, the previous 3 to 5 minutes, that's what really cost them here. They could have found themselves at the second point and pushing the third, but alas, they lose out that second map. It's now 2-0 to CIS Hope going into the half.
Not a good position to be into. We will play all 4 maps. That is the rules of Contenders, but we know that this could potentially be decided by the end of our third map, which of course will be an Assault archetype.
It seems to be the kind of theme for teams this season, whereby, we've only seen 2 days, let's not get ahead of ourselves too quickly, but if they can't get those Grav Dragon combos spot on, that's what we're starting to see weaknesses in teams. It was August and Hungry yesterday, it's Flames today. If they can clean that up, things might change.
Well, we'll find out what our analysts thought of that performance after a quick break.